walking into your own hotel, only to be told you don't belong there. That's exactly what happened to a woman in Atlanta, Georgia, when the staff refused to let her in, not knowing she was the one who signed their paychecks. Jenifer Carter, a 35-year-old self-made entrepreneur from Dallas, Texas, had built a successful chain of luxury hotels from the ground up. She started with nothing, working multiple jobs to save enough money to buy her first property. Over the years, she expanded her business, becoming a respected name in the hospitality industry. But despite her success, Jenifer often faced subtle and sometimes blatant prejudice because of her race. One evening, Jenifer decided to visit one of her hotels unannounced. She wanted to see how things were running without the staff putting on a show for the boss. Dressed casually in jeans and a hoodie, she walked into the lobby, blending in with the guests. But as soon as she approached the front desk, the atmosphere shifted. The staff, a mix of front desk agents and security, eyed her suspiciously. When Jenifer asked for a tour of the facilities, the front desk agent, a young man named Greg, dismissed her request. "This is a private hotel," he said, his tone dripping with condescension. "You can't just walk in here." Jenifer tried to explain that she was interested in the hotel's amenities, but Greg cut her off. "Mom, if you're not a guest, you need to leave." The situation escalated when a security guard, Mike, stepped in. "We've had issues with people loitering here," he said, crossing his arms. "You need to go before we call the police." Jenifer was stunned. She had built this hotel, invested in its success, and now she was being treated like a criminal in her own property. Instead of arguing, Jenifer left quietly. But as she walked out, she made a mental note of every detail: Greg's name tag, Mike's smug expression, and the way the other staff members stood by, doing nothing. She knew something had to change, and she wasn't going to let this slide. This wasn't just about her. It was about the countless others who face similar treatment every day. Jenifer had the power to do something about it, and she was ready to act. But first, she needed a plan. After leaving the hotel that night, Jenifer didn't go home. Instead, she drove to her office, her mind racing with thoughts about what had just happened. She sat at her desk, staring at the framed photos of her hotels lining the walls. Each one represented years of hard work, sleepless nights, and sacrifices. But now, all she could think about was how her own staff had treated her like she didn't belong. Jenifer knew she couldn't let this go. It wasn't just about her pride. It was about the culture she had allowed to fester in her business. She pulled up the employee records for the hotel and began reviewing the staff roster. Greg, the front desk agent, had been with the company for 2 years. Mike, the security guard, had been there even longer. She wondered how many other people they had turned away or mistreated simply because of how they looked. The next morning, Jenifer arrived at the hotel early, but this time she wasn't alone. She brought her lawyer, a no-nonsense woman named Lisa, and a small security team. Dressed in a tailored black suit, Jenifer walked into the lobby with an air of authority that immediately caught the staff's attention. Greg, who was at the front desk, froze mid-sentence when he saw her. Mike, standing nearby, looked like he'd seen a ghost. Jenifer didn't say a word at first. She simply walked to the center of the lobby and asked Lisa to gather all the staff for an emergency meeting. As the employees filed in, whispers filled the room. Some recognized Jenifer from her photos in the corporate office, others were still clueless. Once everyone was assembled, Jenifer stepped forward. "Last night," she began, her voice calm but firm, "I came to this hotel to see how things were running. But instead of being welcomed, I was treated like an intruder. I was told I didn't belong here." She paused, letting her words sink in. "The irony is, this is my hotel. I built this place. And yet, I was made to feel like I had no right to be here." The room fell silent. Greg looked down at his shoes, while Mike shifted uncomfortably. Jenifer continued, "This isn't just about me. It's about the kind of environment we're creating here. If this is how we treat people, then we've failed as a business. She didn't yell or lose her temper. Instead, she spoke with a quiet intensity that made it clear she was in control. "I'm not here to humiliate anyone," she said, "but I am here to make changes. Starting today, we're going to rebuild this team, one that values respect and integrity above all else." Jenifer's words hung in the air as the staff exchanged nervous glances. They knew something big was coming, but no one was prepared for what happened next. The tension in the room was palpable as Jenifer stood in front of her staff, her gaze sweeping across the faces of the employees who had treated her so poorly the night before. Greg, the front desk agent, was visibly sweating, while Mike, the security guard, kept his eyes fixed on the floor. The rest of the staff shifted uneasily, unsure of what was coming next. Jenifer took a deep breath and continued. "Last night wasn't just a mistake. It was a reflection of a deeper problem, a problem I've ignored for too long. But that ends today." She turned to Greg first. "Greg, you were the one who told me I didn't belong here. Do you remember that?" Greg stammered. I didn't know it was you, Miss Carter. I thought." Jenifer cut him off. "It doesn't matter who you thought I was. What matters is how you treated me. And if that's how you treat people, then you don't belong here." She nodded to Lisa, her lawyer, who handed Greg a termination letter. His face turned pale as he took it, his hands trembling. Next, Jenifer turned to Mike. "And you," she said, her voice steady. "You threatened to call the police on me. Do you realize how dangerous that could have been? Not just for me, but for anyone who looks like me?" Mike opened his mouth to respond, but no words came out. Jenifer didn't wait for an explanation. "You're fired, effective immediately." The room was dead silent as Mike took his termination letter, his expression a mix of shock and shame. Jenifer then addressed the rest of the staff. "To those of you who stood by and did nothing, this is your wake-up call. If you want to stay here, you need to do better. We all do." She paused, letting her words sink in. "This isn't just about me. It's about creating a place where everyone feels welcome, no matter who they are or what they look like. If you can't do that, then this isn't the right place for you." With that, Jenifer turned and walked out of the room, leaving the staff in stunned silence. The weight of her actions hung in the air, a powerful reminder that respect and integrity aren't just words, they're the foundation of any successful business. If you've ever been judged unfairly, you know how powerful this story is. Hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe